Hi everyone, Heather here with Astrology with Heather.com, and I am back with another weekly forecast. This one is for Monday, July 22nd, all the way through to Sunday, July 28th of 2019. And this week, things are starting to look up a little bit. We have some bright, cheery, really energized astrology coming in this week. And so, it's sort of a good break from what we've been experiencing throughout this eclipse season. We've had Mercury in retrograde, which is always a little bit difficult, but it's been, making some difficult aspects with Mars and with Uranus up until this week, where things start to shift. And we've had, of course, the eclipses going on. The first one being in Cancer, that total solar eclipse that happened at the start of this month. And then we had just last week a lunar eclipse in the sign of Capricorn that was in a conjunction with Pluto. So that was quite intense for a lot of people, especially on more of an emotional and psychological level. But there might have been some physical stuff going on too, like in terms of manifestation and reality, just because there's so much Saturnian energy involved as well. And so people have been going through a lot of change, a lot of transition, a lot of sudden and abrupt endings, new beginnings. There's a need to sort of purge whatever is going on in your life that no longer serves you, to get rid of old, outdated, oppressive structures in our lives. And so we've been going through that process for quite some time now, and that all came to a head last week, and we're still dealing with that energy. However, we have some positive new energy coming in this week that's going to lighten things up. It's going to help people to see things from a more optimistic perspective. It's going to increase our ambitions, our drive, our energy overall. And so it's going to be a much more pleasant week. And we even have some good energy when it comes to communication, which is a little bit of a different vibe from what we've been experiencing with that Mercury retrograde energy. So if you've been hit really hard by the Mercury retrograde so far, this is a week where you might find a little bit of better balance. You might find that you could communicate your thoughts and ideas a little bit more easily. You might have an important conversation or negotiation coming up, and this week could be a great time to really settle things or reevaluate things, because we have Mercury coming into a conjunction with Venus in the sign of Cancer. And so not only has Mercury retrograded back into Cancer, where our language is being expressed a little bit more in a way that's a little bit more nurturing and a little bit more emotionally driven. You'll find when Mercury goes into Cancer, just as a side note, that people will express themselves using language that is more surrounding feelings and emotions. So they'll express themselves instead of in terms of visuals or what they hear or anything. It's how they feel about something. That becomes the focal point of communication when Mercury moves into the sign of Cancer. And so that already is more of a thing, but also being more considerate of other people's feelings and the way that you deliver information is definitely a Mercury and Cancer type of energy. The other thing that's going on, though, is that Mercury in that conjunction with Venus is a really powerful positive aspect. It helps us to think about things in a way that's more balanced, more fair, more harmonious. It's really great for mutually beneficial conversations, negotiations, and communications of all kinds. And so that lightens the energy. It helps us to articulate our thoughts in a way that's balanced and that is more beautiful and more easily well received by other people. And so that's coming on Wednesday, that'll be exact. We also have the sun moving into the sign of Leo, which is a much more passionate, optimistic, less touchy-feely sort of energy. We've had the sun in Cancer. It's been, really highlighting that energy of the North and South Node in Cancer and Capricorn, that energy of Saturn conjunct Pluto and the South Node. And so, throughout eclipse season, that's been highlighted really strongly. But even just with the sun being in the sign of Cancer, it's been hitting all those points. And so that's moving on. And so finally, it's going to feel like kind of like a reset, like a breath of fresh air. We're going to be fired up, much more passionate, feeling much more playful, much more energized. And so that's going to be a completely different energy from what we've been experiencing throughout this Mercury retrograde. And the sun will also come into a really nice trine at the end of this week with Chiron. And so this will be a minor influence for most people, but if you were born with your sun, moon, or rising in a fire sign, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, at the first few degrees in those signs, you'll be experiencing this energy, and it'll be highlighted in a very positive way. And so this could really accelerate the healing process if you're going through some stuff, especially for those Aries people at the first few degrees of Aries. So this is an acceleration and an illumination of the healing that needs to take place in order for us to become who we truly are more authentically out in the world. And so that's part of what's going on with the energy this week. But the biggest thing that's happening that's going to give us that burst of positive energy is the trine that's happening in the fire signs. So we have Jupiter, which is moving slower now. It's getting ready to start stationing to go direct soon, and it's at those middle degrees in Sagittarius for the very last time. And this energy with Jupiter, the great benefic, is going to be in a harmonious aspect, a trine aspect with Mars, which is in the sign of Leo right now. And so this is going to help us to feel really optimistic, ambitious, fired up, passionate, and to just overall feel much more good. It's good, much more good, much better. When Mercury's in retrograde, my grammar gets really bad when I'm speaking, just so you guys are aware of what's going on with that. And I confuse words. It happens every Mercury retrograde. But anyway, so that Mars energy, we're going to be feeling more fired up, more ambitious. We're just going to overall feel better about what's going on in our lives. It'll help us to see things from a bigger picture, a broader perspective, and to take action in the right way. And it'll be a very positive influx of energy. So in general, we could be feeling a lot better, especially for those who have their sun, moon, and rising in Aries, Leo, or in Sagittarius toward those middle degrees. And so it's an uplifting week. It's a re-energizing, reinvigorating energy that's preparing us for the wind down of eclipse season and what we're going to be moving into for the next month, which we'll get into in the next couple of weeks in the forecast there. So that's what's really going on here. And so before we get into the forecast for all 12 signs, I do want to just make, a couple of quick announcements. So first and foremost, I am doing my Mastering Uranus webinar. That's going to be live on August 17th in just a few, or 2 or 3 weeks here, like 3-4 weeks. And this is going to be all about Uranus in the birth chart, where you need to do things a little bit differently, where you maybe need to be a little bit more rebellious, where you need to constantly be in change and in flux, where the frustrated energy occurs in your chart, and where you need to sort of expect the unexpected because unusual circumstances might come in for you. And we'll be covering transits from Uranus, we'll be covering the Uranus cycles, so everything that you need to know about Uranus in the birth chart. And the link to sign up is down in the description below. You'll get 30% off if you sign up now versus after the fact. So even if you can't attend live, you can register now to get the discount and to be one of the first people to receive the recorded version after the webinar takes place. And that's part of my Mastering the Outer Planets series. And so you can get all of the webinars for Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and then a bonus free webinar for Jupiter. And that's going to be down in the description below. It's a package deal, so you'll get a discount and you'll be able to attend all the webinars and get all of the live recordings right away as soon as they're available for you. And I think that's pretty much it for right now. So let's jump into the forecast for all 12 signs, beginning, of course, with Aries. And so for Aries and Aries Rising, this is a good week for Aries, I think. And, you know, if you haven't already done so, you should go down in the link in the description below to my weekly Astro Highlights, where I'm doing a blog post each week where I give a just brief rundown of the most important things, and I talk about who's going to have an easier time versus a more challenging time with the astrology, because I had a couple people complaining, oh, Leo and Aries, they always have such hard stuff going on. Well, this week it's a little better for you guys, so and so I put that in there, and you can, so that's down in the description below. But anyway, for Aries and for Aries Rising, This is a positive week for you guys. If you're going through some stuff, if you have your sun, moon, rising within the first 7-8 degrees even of the sign of Aries, you've been having this energy of Chiron coming and hitting your rising or your planets in Aries. And so it could be feeling a little difficult. You know, Chiron brings up a lot of shame, awkwardness, guilt, insecurity, vulnerability. It brings up stuff that feels really uncomfortable. It brings past trauma, wounds, insecurities out to the surface and out into the open. So you're almost wearing them like on your sleeve. Like it feels like people can see it. And so it feels really uncomfortable. And it does indicate that you're going through a process of healing through past insecurities, past wounds, guilt, shame, trauma from previous circumstances that have occurred in your life. And the sun in trine with Chiron this week brings about a more positive expression of this energy where it's highlighted, where you can see it, and where you can heal through whatever you need to work through much more easily at an accelerated rate. And so that'll happen naturally on its own without you really having to push for it or do much. It'll show up, you'll say, oh, this is what I have to do, and then you'll do it. And so that's part of what's going on here for you. The other thing too is that there's going to be a trine between Jupiter and Mars. And so if you have your sun, moon, rising near that 14th degree, so anywhere really from, I would say 11 degrees to 17 degrees, you'll be feeling this really strongly, this grand fire trine. And you're going to feel fired up. You're going to feel very ambitious. You're going to be feeling much more optimistic. You're going to be feeling, you're going to be able to, with Jupiter in the 9th house, see the bigger picture, the broader perspective, to understand much more fully and completely why you've been going through what you've been going through, especially if you've been hit really hard by these eclipses, which a lot of Aries people have. And so this is where you take a step back, you gain that sense of perspective, and you see what you need to do next, and you feel good about it, you feel hopeful about it, and you feel fired up, passionate, and energized about it, especially with Mars being in the 5th house for you, which is the house of passion, play, fun. This is a really great time for you to go out and do something that's exciting to you, to go out and have a romantic night on the town, to go out and play and do something that you love to do just because you want to do it. And so this is a great week for all of that. And if there are any important conversations you need to have involving your home, property, family, that you need to revisit, reevaluate, and maybe sort of reassess and get back into, those conversations will probably go a lot more easily for you this week with that Mercury conjunction to Venus in your 4th house. And so now is a great time to connect and communicate with your family and to revisit old discussions that need to be hashed out, because the end results of those discussions are likely to be mutually beneficial as a result of utilizing this time frame here. Oops. And then for Taurus and for Taurus rising, for you guys, you'll have this trine between Mars and Jupiter in your 4th house of the home and family, and in your 8th house, which is the house of finances, joint finances through marriage. It's the house of debt, other people's money. It's the house of power and disempowerment and re-empowerment. It's the house of transformation. And so this is a week where you're going to feel very empowered. You're going to be feeling empowered to take back control of your finances. You'll feel empowered to take back control of anything in your life that feels like it's beyond your control right now. This is a really important week to dive into what's causing you to hesitate. Where are your fears, your anxieties, your past traumas, your past experiences preventing you from feeling empowered and from moving forward in life? Those are all things that you can visit, or topics that you can visit this week. And this is a great week where you might feel fired up to do something involving a project with your family, or a project with your home environment, or to start something new in your home or your family situation, or to revisit something that you started before and maybe reinitiate that energy because Mercury is in retrograde. But there's going to be this really intense surge of positive energy around finance and around your home and property, and those two could be connected. And so it could even be something like getting the financing, or the money comes in in one way or another for you to do a really important home renovation project, or to make some sort of change to your living situation. And so all of that is a possibility. And for you, Taurus, this week, this Mercury conjunction to Venus is in your 3rd house of communication. And this is a great week for you to communicate, revisit communications that need to be revisited. If you've been avoiding talking about something, now's the time to jump back in and to just do it. To face what it is that you need to face and to have those discussions that might feel a little bit difficult, because they're going to go a lot more easily for you this week. And then for Cancer and for for Gemini and for Gemini rising. This energy with Jupiter in trine with Mars is happening in your third house of communication with Mars and in your seventh house of relationships. And so now you might feel really fired up about an important conversation, an important agreement, an important communication that you need to jump into or visit or revisit this week. Communication that you initiate this week can prove to ultimately be beneficial, especially if you're re-evaluating or reinitiating or revisiting a certain topic or subject. This is also a great time for you to embark on a journey, like a short distance trip with somebody that you care about. So with a spouse or a partner or a close friend or, family member or something of that type. So really doing something where you can connect with other people through communication, through travel, through learning, through engagement, and through really exciting your curiosity. So if you've been feeling really bored, this is a time where you can shake yourself out of that rut and you can do something new and exciting and learn through that process of doing. And you also have this energy of Mercury with Venus in your second house of finance. And so this is a time where if you're reevaluating your budget, if you're reevaluating your relationship with money, your material possessions, or a really important decision involving like a major purchase, now's a time where you can get in there, where you can make agreements or make plans that are going to benefit all concerned, that are going to be much more balanced and harmonious and positive in terms of the way that they manifest moving forward. And then for Cancer and for Cancer rising. This energy with Jupiter and Mars is happening in your sixth house and in your second house. And so the sixth house is the house of work. It's the house of your day-to-day work routines and habits. It's the house of your coworkers. It's the house of service. And the second house is the house of finance. And so this could be a week where you feel really fired up or really excited about a work-related project, or about a new work routine, or about something that's going to be bringing in more income that you want to launch into and move forward with. Now's the time where you can start to build that momentum and get things going. I wouldn't recommend jumping in head first right now, as we're winding down the month and as Mercury's still in retrograde, unless you're a Mercury retrograde person. But this is the time where you'll get that momentum going, where you can seed those intentions, where you can get those plans in order, and you can see the bigger perspective as to why maybe you've been struggling in these areas prior to this time. And so this is a great week for all things related to your work, and especially your work environment, the people that you work with, and your daily work routines. This is also a time where you can kickstart more positive developments when it comes to your health and your body, your nutritional habits, your the food that you eat, the way that you engage with your body through movement and exercise. These are all things that might be themes for you this week, where you're going to feel really excited about it. And then that Mercury conjunction to Venus is happening in your sign. So especially if you are a Cancer at the end degrees of the sign of Cancer, because this is happening at 26 degrees. So I would say especially anyone who is born with their Cancer rising, sun sign, or moon sign between 23 and 29 degrees, you'll be feeling this the most. And so this is a really important time where people can come in and bring really important positive messages that help you to come back into balance when it comes to important plans or important ideas or important relationships. And this is a time where I would venture to guess that some Cancers might have old relationships that pop back up. And so you might have dreams of an old flame. You might have a message come in from somebody who you used to date or you used to be in contact with. It might not even be romantic. But this would be a time where you might have to revisit communications with people from your past. And then for Leo and for Leo rising. So for you in particular, this could be a really powerful week for healing if you're a Leo rising with your sun, moon, rising sign within those first 8 degrees in the sign of Leo, because you'll have that sun trine to Chiron, highlighting that energy of healing your body, healing your ego, healing through any old wounds, traumas, insecurities, vulnerabilities, guilt, or shame around who you are and how you express that authentically out in the world. The other thing that's happening is that you're going to feel real fired up this week. And so Mars, which is normally considered to be the lesser malefic, it can cause things like accidents and arguments and disputes, and it can cause you to feel real frustrated. It's going to be expressed positively for you. So if you've been feeling more frustrated and having that energy, it's because Mars has been transiting your sign. But Jupiter helps it to be expressed more positively through engaging with your passions. And that's something that Leo loves, right? Leo is all about passion and play. And by the way, happy birthday to my Leo sun sign friends out there. I have your solar return forecast, a 2-hour video with a PDF key that gives you a whole roadmap for your year ahead, 2019 through 2020. Down in the description below, you can find the link to purchase this forecast. It's a really extended, forecast for your year ahead. But anyway, the energy for Leos in general this week is going to be positive. And so if you have your sun, moon, or rising near that 14th degree in the sign of Leo, so I would say anywhere from 11 degrees to 17 degrees, you're going to be feeling really ambitious and really optimistic and really amped up about something. This could really fire up your passions. This could be a really great week for romance or for expressing energy on a sexual level, so connecting in partnership with other people in that way. And this is a really great week for you to engage in anything that you love to do because you want to do it. Any hobbies, interests, passions, creative pursuits that you want to engage with, anything that helps you to connect with your joy and the way that you express your joy or the way that you experience joy, that's what this week is all about for you. So, go for a night out on the town with somebody that you love. Spend time with your kids doing something really fun and exciting. Reconnect with that creativity and those creative projects and passions that have been on the back burner for quite some time. This is a great week to do all of that. All right, and then for Virgo and for Virgo rising. So for you guys, this energy here for the Mars trine to Jupiter is occurring in your 12th house and in your 4th house. The 4th house is the house of home, family, property. And, Mars is in the 12th house, which is a hidden house. You might have these like subconscious impulses that come through dreams or visions or impressions or downloads or just these flashes of insight that cause you to want to expand on something or change something involving your home, your family, your property, your place of living. And so that could be part of this energy this week. This is a great week to focus on your family, to focus on your living situation and whether or not it's in alignment with what you value and what you want. Is your house big enough or beautiful enough? Do you feel comfortable there? Do you feel comfortable with the people that you're living with? Do you feel comfortable in your immediate environment in general? Looking at your comfort zones and whether or not your home environment is an expression of that and it is an expression of what feels good to you, that's going to be part of this week too. So you can align yourself with that. And you can have positive developments this week involving your property, involving maybe a rental agreement or, a property that you own or something along those lines. And so pay attention because those opportunities could be missed because some of it's coming from behind the scenes, where you might not necessarily notice that these energies are coming up. So you want to make sure that you take hold of them if they come about in a way that's like a subconscious sort of impression or inspiration that comes in. And this energy with Venus and Mercury in a conjunction is happening in your 11th house, which is the house of friendship. And so this is a great week to connect or reconnect, especially with old friends, people that you have sort of lost touch with, but who you want to re-engage with. So reaching out to people you haven't spoken to in quite some time can be very fruitful with this Mercury retrograde in a conjunction to Venus in your 11th house. And so, in reconnecting with organizations and groups of people that maybe you used to be a part of, but you know, maybe stepped down from or stepped away from for whatever reason, that can also be a really great use of this energy. And for Libra Rising, this Mars trine to Jupiter is happening in your 3rd house of communication and in your 11th house of friendships. This is a week where you might be fired up or feeling fired up about a really great idea, or some connection with a group of people, or connections with your friends might cause you to feel more optimistic, ambitious, fired up, ready to go. Maybe you have a group project that you're wanting to embark on. Maybe you want to connect with people more so in groups via like webinars or, you know, online sorts of resources. Maybe you want to connect with groups of people or form an organization in real life. Now is the time to get your ducks in a row and get your plans in order and seed those intentions, because the energy is there. In terms of, so in general, communication with friends is going to yield positive results that you can take action on. And so if you're stuck on something, running it by your group, your social circle, that's going to be the best way to get clarity and to feel really excited about what it is that you're doing. They'll join in on your passion. And the energy of Venus conjunction to Mercury retrograde is happening in your 10th house, which is the house of career, public status, and authority figures. And so if you need to revisit an important communication involving your work or a work-related project, now's the time to do it. If you want to reach out to somebody in a position of power and authority in your field, somebody you look up to, now's the time to do it. If you want to revisit an old conversation around a promotion at work or a raise or something like that, now's a time where that can yield more positive results. And so, you know, this is a really great time to get the momentum going and to have those conversations, especially if it's something that you've already mentioned in the past and you're just sort of redoing and revisiting and bringing that back into the picture. And then for Scorpio and Scorpio Rising, this Mars trine to Jupiter is happening in your 10th house of career and public reputation. It's also the house of authority figures and people that you look up to. And then you have Jupiter in your 2nd house, which is the house of finance, money. And so this is a really important time. We're revisiting important actions related to your career, your public status, your business, your work, or reaching out and initiating some sort of action or revisiting some sort of action that you've taken in the past involving somebody who's in a position of authority or somebody you look up to in your field can yield positive results that will inevitably increase your income, increase your material possessions, your material status in life, and help things to flow much more easily into your 2nd house. And so putting in the work this week, making that push, that's going to help to funnel money into the 2nd house. And you might be feeling really lit up and ambitious and ready to go when it comes to an important work-related project this week. So it might just flow very easily for you anyway. But just know that those types of pursuits this week will yield positive results for you. And you're channeling your ambitions in the right place. It's just a matter of, you know, all these retrogrades and eclipses clearing up, and things will start to unfold and manifest much more easily after this point. And then you have that Venus conjunction to Mercury in the 9th house. If you need to have an important communication with a teacher or your students, if you are a teacher, this is a time where it can go much more smoothly. If you need to revisit your travel plans and maybe make some changes in that respect, this is a time where those changes will yield positive results and will create a better balance moving forward. This is also a great time to revisit old courses that you've taken, old information, and you might find great insights and details and information that you missed the first time around, and that helps you to have a more balanced perspective on the topics that you're focusing on when it comes to your higher educational pursuits. And so all of these things are going to be beneficial for Scorpio risings, in particular, and Scorpio sun signs this week. And then for Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, Jupiter is in your sign, and Jupiter is the ruler of your sign. And so this is going to bring a lot of fire and momentum and positive energy and this really intense urge to take action on something this week. You're going to be feeling much more passionate and lit up about life. And this is really going to be you wanting to charge forward into something involving higher education, involving travel plans, involving your biggest dreams and goals and ambitions, involving your beliefs about God, the universe, the world around you, and engaging in something that's in alignment with those beliefs, with what you hold dear and with what's most important to you on that philosophical, spiritual, religious level. And this could be you wanting to just jump forward into some sort of really exciting travel plan or something along those lines. Just make sure it's something, hopefully, that you've either thought about in the past or engaged with in the past, so you're sort of revisiting that energy. And even if the forward momentum is for initiating something brand new, that's okay. It's a great time to seed that energy, to make your plans, and then in a couple of weeks, you'll have plenty of momentum going to take that action, and it will yield positive results for you most likely. The other thing, too, is that you have Mercury and Venus in your 11th house of finances. So this is a great time to revisit any communication, conversations, plans, budgeting you need to do involving joint finances and marriage, involving investments, contracts and agreements that involve money, negotiations, things like that involve money and resources, paying off debts, anything that has to do with taxes or inheritance or like life insurance or insurance policies in general. That's all 8th house stuff. And if it's something that you're redoing, revisiting, or changing in some sort of way to make it better for the future, then this is a great time to do that. This is also a great time to have those really deep, intimate, important conversations that maybe you've been avoiding because of the intensity around those topics. Now's a time where you can get in there, you can get a really deep understanding of what's up for, this relationship or this connection that you have with somebody, and to really get to know them on a deeper, more personal level. All right, and then for Capricorn and Capricorn Rising, this Mars trine to Jupiter is happening in your 8th house of joint finances, of power and control, and all of these sorts of 8th house energies. And in the 12th house, which is the house of things that are hidden. It's the house of retreat. It's the house of your spirituality and your spiritual belief systems. It's the house that connects everything to everything else. It's the house of endings. And so between this Mars in the house of death and rebirth and transformation, and Jupiter in the house of endings, you could be having a really exciting opportunity to end something and to let go of something, to allow it to sort of symbolically die so you can channel that energy into something new. This is a transformative and powerful time for you to harness this energy, to let go of anything that's disempowering you, to let go of anything that is no longer serving you, that you need to move on and let go of, so that way you can have greater clarity and greater control over your circumstances moving forward. This is also a time where you might feel really excited about an important investment or revisiting an important investment, or where an investment in the past might pay off right now in the immediate future. A short-term payoff, I would say, with this energy of Mars being involved, but still a payoff. And this is a time where you can very easily address issues that involve power struggles, that involve control, that involve manipulation, that involve money and finances that are shared with other people. And the end results of addressing this situation or reevaluating this situation right now, they will be positive for you in the future. The other thing, too, is that you have Venus in a conjunction with Mercury, and Mercury is still in retrograde. And this is happening in the 7th house, which is the house of relationships. And especially if you're a Capricorn rising or sun sign, with your rising sign, sun sign around that 26th degree. So anywhere from 23 to 29 degrees, I would say, would be feeling this the most. Now is a great time to rehash old conversations with your partner or with somebody that you care about. And the results will be much more positive than maybe they were the last time you brought these things up. You can reach a really good renegotiation that's mutually beneficial when it comes to important contracts and agreements. And this is another energy for Capricorn Rising people, where you might find that old relationships come back up in the forefront of your consciousness, either because you get a message or a phone call, or they show up in a dream where you're just thinking about them or something like that. And maybe you haven't thought about this person in years, but that might be an energy indicating that you need to reintegrate this person into your life in one way or another, or maybe resolve something that has been left unfinished with that relationship once and for all. All right, and Aquarius Rising. So for Aquarius Rising, Jupiter and Mars are in trine in your 11th and your 7th house, making this a great week where you're going to be feeling really passionate, fired up, and excited about relationships, about friendships, about connecting with people. This is a great week to go out there to engage with your community, to engage with the people that you surround yourself with by choice because you like them. So it's a great time to go out with friends, to spend a romantic night out on the town with somebody that you love and care about, or even with a new flame, or to revisit an old flame or something like that. That Mars energy in the 7th house is going to help you to feel passionate about your relationships. It could reignite the passions that have started to dwindle in current relationships that have been around for quite some time. And you can ignite passions in new ways and in new relationships this week. But again, a great way to connect with groups of people, a great way to connect with your friends, and to just engage by doing things with people, not just chatting and talking and connecting with them via text message or something like that. Going out and doing something with the people that you like to do things with. That's really what this is all about, and you'll feel really good about that. So it's a good week. And then for the Mercury conjunction to Venus, this is a really great time in your 6th house for you to have important conversations around work-related projects, to rehash old conversations that need to be brought up with coworkers, and to reevaluate and reconnect with your relationship with your body, so to come back into balance by changing up your daily habits, routines, and plans when it comes to nutrition or your health habits or your workout routines. And then finally, for Pisces and for Pisces Rising, this energy of Jupiter in trine with Mars will be happening in your 10th and in your 6th house. And this is a great week for you guys when it comes to work and your ambitions and your goals and your dreams, as it relates to your career and to your public status. And so this is a great time where you might feel like moving forward with new plans that you feel really lit up and excited about when it comes to work routines, or when it comes to connecting with somebody who you see as an authority figure related to health, related to nutrition, related to your body. Maybe you'll feel really excited about a new path that you're taking with your nutritional habits, or with your workout routines, or with your health regimens in general. This is a great week, by the way, for physical activity for Pisces Rising people, with Mars being in your 6th house and that Jupiter trine. Physical activity will yield very positive results and will really impact your mood and your productivity this week. So make sure that you're carving out some time, if you are physically able to just engage your muscles, to do things, to move, and to do so in a way that's purposeful and that feels good to you. Don't do something that's boring and monotonous. Do something that you feel passionate about. Go out dancing, go out rock climbing, or whatever it is that you like to do when it comes to movement. Do the thing that you love to do most, and do it as regularly as possible this week. And I think that you'll see some really good results, and that could help to propel you into new habits and routines when it comes to your daily movements and your daily health routines and all of that as well. You also have Venus in a conjunction with Mercury, and that's happening in your 5th house, which is the house of passion, play, romance, all of those good things. And so this is a great time for you to have important conversations with a romantic partner. This is a great time for you to think about revisiting creative hobbies, pursuits, passions, interests, things that you love to do because you love to do them, especially when they involve creativity or this nurturing energy. Maybe you used to love to cook, and maybe you're revisiting that. Maybe you used to love to do crafts or something, and you're revisiting that, or write, or whatever it is. That could be a really great way to use this energy. And this could be another energy for Pisces in particular, where old flames, old relationships, especially really passionate love affairs that were maybe more short-lived, might come back into the forefront of your consciousness. So you might find that you're getting messages or a call, or something pops up on one of your social media feeds or something that reminds you of an old flame, that reminds you of an old romance that you've forgotten about. And maybe you have to revisit that in some sort of way. Maybe you have to communicate with that person, or maybe you need to reevaluate that relationship. What went wrong? What happened there? Or work on releasing ties to that person, or wrapping up some unfinished business. And so that is my forecast for all 12 signs. If you have questions about anything I just said to you, feel free to comment below, email me, whatever you want to do. And if you want to book a reading with me, I'm still taking orders for single question and urgent single question readings. The link to do so is down in the description below. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share this with your friends if you feel like this information is helpful to you, because maybe it'll be helpful to them also. All right, bye everyone. Thank you.